right, guys, welcome back to Studio 39. We've got another episode of Spotlight 39. I'm Rob Bodie. I've got a young man that's going to be joining me tonight. He is doing fantastic things for the kids. He's got a really good story to tell on how it started at home, started in the heart. Something for him and his son and his family, and then it's really sprouted to be something incredible, which he made a big announcement earlier today online. So before we get into all that, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Please make sure you're sharing it on all your social media platforms. It really goes a long way. All you have to do is click subscribe. It really doesn't cost you anything to help out, but by doing so, you can really help impact as many young athletes as possible because we want to continue to grow. We want to continue to do big things. So, without further ado, I'm going to hand the floor to you. This is Will, and he's going to tell you who he is, what he does, and we're going to have some conversation. I'm excited.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Will Dotson here in Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, about 15, 20 miles outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm here today to talk about PA Nike Elite 7-on-7 organization. I'm the director of operations there. I created this organization 4 years ago. Just an opportunity to get my son some what we call off-season reps because he was considered one of the better players in the country as a 10th grader, but there was still a lot of work that needed to be done. And we're going to tell that story as far as how we created the organization, where we're at now, and where we're going at. So excited to share this story with everybody. A lot of people don't necessarily know about the full story. So here's a nice platform to hear about the story.
That's awesome, man. No, I certainly appreciate you taking your time. We chopped it up before we went live, so I got a nice snapshot of what it is. But I'm excited to really dig in and hear what it's all about. So you said it started when your son was in 10th grade, right?
Yep,
And obviously, being one of the higher ranked individuals in the state, that's a big honor in itself. But obviously, there's plenty of work to be done. Like you said, always got to work on your craft, get bigger, stronger, faster at whatever it is, right? And
yep.
so you opted to have him try out for another program, and I believe you said he ultimately wasn't chosen for that program. Am I right?
That's correct.
Yeah, so that's kind of what led you to the path that you're currently in, and I'll let you go kind of lead that path and kind of share with us what that looks like and how it really began.
Yep. So that's the beginning of it, right? So again, when my son was a 10th grader, it was understood that he was one of the better 10th graders in the state. And the off season came, and one of the directives from his high school, which was one of the best high schools in the country, called Pittsburgh Central Catholic, they're a
Okay,
national program. They just flat out tell you that, listen, if you are a skill player, you need to go out and find you a 7-on-7 organization and then come back as a better player. So hearing that, we try to go out and find out who's the best 7-on-7 programs in the area. We did that. He went out and tried out for this organization, and it was just a madhouse in there. Like, they had some of the better players everywhere there. So it wasn't like one of those deals where he was slighted or anything. It was just like everybody was good there. I mean, he worked his butt off. He had a really good tryout, and I kind of thought, all right, you're going to make a team here. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
And then when they announced the teams, his name wasn't on the list. So one, it teaches you a hard lesson. Like, all right, you wasn't choosing. Like, we're not going to sit here and cry about it. Like, what are we going to do? What's our options? Like, I can create something myself and build a team myself, and we can put this together ourselves, or we can sit over here and cry about it. You know what I
That's
mean?
it.
And just from the connections that I had coached in a youth organization. I run my own AAU program also. I knew a lot of people where I can grab, 20 to 25 players and built my own team. And that's what we eventually ended up doing and had a lot of
That's pretty
success with
awesome.
those initial 24 kids that I told you about. And then we just kept it going. All of those kids that we started with was also 10th graders. So we wanted to have a team that we can keep together for 2 or more years to see
Okay,
like what we can do over time with that group. And um, that group, that initial group of 24 kids that we started with, all 24 of them are in college right now. 17 of them are D1, three of them are in the Ivy League, and it just set off a really good situation for us to keep building it now that we're in year 5 with this thing.
yeah, man. So I mean, that's crazy that you build it from the ground up almost overnight from the sounds of it. you know and like you said, he wasn't chosen necessarily because he wasn't talented enough. It's just there was nothing but talent around you. and
Mhm.
they kind of picked and choose, and he was one of the the lone men out. And then you go ahead and you decide to really amp it up and do something about it. You create your own league, and you were able to not only create a league but develop it to the point where, like you said, you had several young men go play D1, couple in the Ivy League, a handful in D2. All are fantastic roads to success.
Mhm.
And had they not gone through your program, that opportunity may not have been able to present itself, or the road to that program may not have been as easy for them as it was, because they were able to go through your program. And the fact that they were able to stay together for a couple of years, I think, was a big piece of glue per se, to keep it together and really keep it going. And then you said, 5 years later, you kind of contemplated, hey, maybe I'm gonna finish up. My kid's in college, he's doing his thing. I've done what I set out to do, but you found it within yourself to decide to continue to go and continue to help these young athletes. So tell me a little bit, about where it's at now, and really what's going on.
Yeah, right now it's just crazy, man. The phones are just ringing off the hook as far as the 7-on-7 piece of it. That first year, like I talked about, when we started, we had one team of 24 kids, right? This year, we're anticipating having 13 teams.
Okay.
These are going to be teams that start off at 13U, meaning 13 years or younger, 14U, 15U, and 18U.
Okay.
Our 15U team last year finished the season ranked the third team in the country, and they were mostly 14-year-olds. So we basically returned that whole team, and it's already talked that that team is going into the season as the number one team in the country. Our
Wow.
14U team is, from a talent standpoint, we feel better than our 15U team, to let you know the type of talent that's on that team. And then the same thing for our 13U team. Our 18U team, a lot of talent there. Um, it's harder to win tournaments at the 18U division, because a lot of the times, like, our situation is we're kind of in a smaller community over here, where we pull,
Sure.
like I told you, from the tip of West Virginia, some kids from Ohio, and then mostly Western Pennsylvania. A lot of these teams that are nationally ranked on the 18U circuit are state-driven teams,
Sure.
where, like, a California type team, they're pulling kids from all over the state of California.
All right.
It's just tough to beat teams like that. But not to say that they can't be beat, because we've done it. It's just tough. So our 18U team goes into the season as probably going to be one of the better teams on the circuit. But now we'll see, like, what these other teams out there offer. So
Sure.
back to the original question, as far as like what's going on right now, it's just every day we're just planning for this tryout. The tryout's on January the 10th. We have already sold out the tryout. 300 kids are already pre-registered, which is crazy. The second year that we had open tryouts, I think we had a total of 60 kids. The third year, I think we had up like 90.
Oh wow.
Last year we had like 130, and this year we have 300.
300 sold out.
It's 300 sold out. That's the most we can do in the
I was
building.
gonna say, and that's COVID limit. So
Yes,
not to say you wouldn't have done more.
yeah, and we had to break it up in two sessions. So we're doing a session of 150 of kids that are 13U and 14U. They're going to be combined. And then we're doing another session of 150 of 15U and 18U together. So that
Okay.
gets to our 300 number. And that's all in one day. We have a session. It's going to be from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, take an hour break, and then we come back from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So it's all one time.
Okay. And where's the what facility are you guys going to be running out of? Where's it located?
Yeah, this is another indoor facility in Pittsburgh. Very nice. One of the most highly respected indoor facilities in Pennsylvania. It's called the Pittsburgh Sports Authority.
Okay.
PISA, PISA. A lot of people, and most people that use indoor facilities in the Western Pennsylvania area, knows about this facility. It's just a really, really spectacular place to be in. Not only do we have our tryout there, we also have all of our practice there also. So we
Okay.
actually just signed a 3-year contract with them. That leads into the announcement that I had this morning about us having our own deal in 3 years. So we kind of try to time it up so that we can at least have something to practice indoors until we get our own thing. The one thing that we have to fight over here in Western Pennsylvania is weather, right?
Yeah.
Starting now, I would say mid November through about the end of February, you're talking anywhere between 0 degrees to a high of 20. We don't want to be
Yeah.
practicing outside and that stuff. So you got
Got
to have a indoor facility. There are other 7-on-7 organizations around here. It's about 4 or 5 of them. None of them have indoor facilities. One of them used to have one. It'll be interesting to see if they still have that because of all of the COVID rules and things of that
Sure,
sort.
sure.
They shared a facility with the Pittsburgh Steelers, so I
Okay.
don't know if they're going to be able to get that facility no more because of all of the COVID stuff. So we
Sure.
are truly the only organization out here with a substantial indoor facility for the season coming up.
Yeah. So we got a 3-year deal at the Sports Authority complex, right?
Yep.
And then you had a pretty big announcement today. Uh, why don't you dig into that? How that happened? What is it? What's it going to mean going forward? And yeah, just kind of walk me through that.
Yeah, so this has been a 2-year process. One of the other programs that I run, which is actually bigger than my 7-on-7 organization, is my AAU basketball organization. It's called PA Elite Bombers.
Okay.
We're very big. We go summer league, we go AAU basketball, and then we also have a program called Baby Bombers for youth that are fifth grade or younger.
Oh
So
wow.
between those 3 programs, we call them, we're doing about 600 plus kids in that organization. Our AAU organization is countrywide renowned. We have a lot of really good basketball players that come out of our organization on a year by year basis. Sucks last year that we didn't get to do AAU because right as the AAU season was starting, boom, March, COVID hit.
Yep.
We actually canceled the whole AAU season last year and lost a whole AAU season for we had like 14 teams in our program. So,
Oh
but
wow.
now, like I said, this was a 3-year process of more or less um, trying to build an indoor facility for our AU side of the business
Sure.
because the 7-on-7 thing, like we just talked about, it was something that I wasn't even really anticipating keeping going this long. You
Right.
know what I mean? But I was running AAU. I started in this 7-on-7 thing. And then as it slowly started to build up, and to the point where it's at now, and I was like, all right, well, if we're going to keep this 7-on-7 thing going, not only are we going to have to add on to this indoor facility, which is just basketball, we got to find a way now to find space to add a 100-yard football field in this joint so that we can also keep the 7-on-7 thing going. So the search was on to find land. We found it. Then the search was on. Like I'm into finances. Like that's my real job. You know what I mean? So I
Sure.
also have a real job. This isn't like what I do for a living. So I'm
Sure.
into finances. I'm an executive at a financial corporation, and so I understand the financing part of it, the commercial side of things, and just trying to make sure that the funding was there before we, you know, moved before anything else could happen. And
Right.
then once we got the funding for everything and we knew we had the land lined up, it was just like, all right, this thing is all ready to go. So now where we're at with this thing is it's all ready to go. It's just a matter of me turning on the light, if you will, and saying, go start building it.
Okay.
But talking to my people that are involved in the program, we can't move that way until we know this COVID stuff is biased,
Right.
right?
Right.
So if I approve the construction company to start building this thing, they're telling me it's going to take anywhere between 12 months to 14 months. Well,
Okay.
in 14 months, I need to be 100% operational in this facility.
Sure.
I
Sure.
can't, yeah, I can't be sitting out here and the state of Pennsylvania is telling me, yeah, you just opened this new facility, but you can only allow 30 people in at a time.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to work for me.
Right.
So
Right.
what we're doing now is, again, we have the funding, we have the land. It's just more about trying to understand where we're going at with this COVID stuff and when it's going to be over so that when we are done building this thing, we can now open the door and say, everybody can come in and there's no
For sure.
limitations to that stuff.
Yeah, because I was looking over kind of the plan. It looks like you're gonna have 3 courts
Mhm.
for basketball. Was it 6-lane track, right?
Yep.
And then a full 100-yard field, couple of film rooms, I guess an event party room. Am I missing anything?
The meeting rooms, the locker rooms,
Oh yeah, the
and
history locker room. Yep.
we call it the game room or the relaxation room for parents that come drop their kids off. It'll be more like a sports, not a bar because we're not going to have any food and beverage there, but TVs all over the place with
Okay,
recliner chairs. You can go in and just wait for your kid to be done
makes
with
sense.
their workout or whatever they're doing in there. And I learned that over the years with running around some of these facilities with my kid. I drop him off and now I'm sitting against a wall or something. And I'm like, man, like a cheer in here or something. You know what I mean? So we're
These
gonna
days,
make
you drop them off, sit in the parking lot in your car, right?
that too. You know what I mean? But we would try to make this thing as perfect for the kids that's going to be using it. But also, we can't forget about the parents that's doing all the legwork to get these kids
Oh
to
yeah,
these facilities. You know what I mean? So we're going to definitely capitalize on that and make sure that it's good for them.
yeah. So what's kind of the plan with all of that? Are we going to be operational year round? Is it seasonal memberships? Is it only going to be part of the league? How's it going to work as a whole?
Yeah, it's going to be all of that. So, um, it's going to be memberships for the gym portion of it.
Okay.
If you are a member in the gym, you can use the courts, you can use the field, you can use the track. A
Okay.
big portion of it's going to be tournaments.
Okay.
Western Pennsylvania is huge in AAU basketball tournaments.
Okay.
They run from literally January through the end of August.
Oh wow.
So there's tournaments every weekend. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Then the other thing that's big around here is like we talked about when the weather gets cold, everybody needs indoor time, you know, and not just basketball and football. You're talking lacrosse, you're talking soccer, you're talking baseball, you're talking volleyball. Everybody needs to be indoors unless you want to practice outside where it's 5 degrees. It just doesn't work up here like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I actually got a call from 4 or 5 track people that's talking about, can we book time for track tournaments in 2024? I'm like, we're not even ready for anything like that. You know what I mean?
Well,
But here's my information. Stay
yeah.
in touch and we'll do something when we get to that point. So it's going to be all of that stuff that you mentioned, basically.
Okay, okay. So once we get through COVID, that's kind of when you hit the green light. We start to build out. But in the
Mhm.
meantime, you still got the Sports Authority complex. What are you doing on the AAU side?
AAU right now is technically on pause.
Okay,
All of my AAU stuff is through school gyms, like where I live at. This is town called Canonsburg, Pennsylvania,
okay,
and made a lot of contacts. I've been living here for the last 12 years. Know a lot of people that's in the school district, and trying to get gyms and period is very hard in any school district in Pennsylvania. But you make the right contacts, you pay what you need to pay, you get insurances and things of that sort, you can kind of get the approvals that you need.
well, that's good.
So through those connections, I've been able to gobble up like every available gym hour after 5 o'clock at these gyms, which allowed me to run my AAU organization over the last 8 years, right?
Okay,
But now because of COVID, there are no approvals to use school gyms. So with no gym time, we can't practice. With no practice, you can't play AAU. You know
yeah,
what I mean? I get parents calling me all the time. Well, let's just put a team together and show up at a tournament. That doesn't work for AAU.
no,
This isn't
no, no,
pickup
no.
ball. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Not on the elite circuit that the teams that we have in our organizations play on. We don't play in like some pickup rec league type AAU circuit. We play on an elite level circuit where teams are practicing literally 3 4 times a week before
oh,
they go
wow.
to a tournament. So until we get some type of approval or till we know what's going on with COVID, these schools aren't going to move. So the AAU side of the business is just on pause
Okay,
until we get there. Now on 7-on-7, we have Pisa.
yeah,
So 7-on-7 is ready to rock. Pisa said it's wide open. There are restrictions, but we are going to be managing to those restrictions.
okay,
The numbers are about 80 people per practice, which is fine. We'll be able to do that. We're just going to have multiple practices, clear everybody out, bring the next group in type stuff.
sure.
So we already have those plans. But AAU basketball, there's nothing going on until we can get some gyms.
I got you. So the 7-on-7, you said tryouts are January 4th.
10th. 10th.
10th. Yep.
Yep.
So, and then that's 300 seats in the event that state regulations decide to loosen up a little bit, from now until then. Do you have plans on opening additional slots, or are you kind of solid at the 300 where you're at now?
No, that's a great question because we probably have, I think the number as of this morning was 63 on the waiting list.
Okay.
So we have 300 sold out with another 63 on the waiting list. And as kids, some kids have been calling that has been on the 300 saying, after further thought, we're not going to move forward with coming to the tryout or being a part of the team. And you can remove our name from the list and bring another kid in. We just
Okay.
scratch that kid's name off the list. First name that was on the waiting list
Close
is
that.
now on. So we've been doing a lot of that. But yeah, to your point, if we and Pisa already told us that if they get any reprieve from the state that, hey, we can allow more people in here, then we'll start adding more people to the tryout.
Okay, good deal, good deal. And then any form of media coverage at the event, like at the tryout, anything like that?
Yeah, so last year it'll be similar to last year, maybe even bigger. I think last year we probably had 15 sports writers there. Some of our local, regional, national people there. We
Okay,
had three camera crews. It was almost like a movie. There's video shoots of it. There's all types of stuff that what we did at that tryout last year, and already getting a lot of requests from those same media people that they're coming back. The people who shot the videos are coming back. So
awesome.
it's always a big event, and we try to make it out for it to be an exposure event for the kids.
Oh yeah,
So
definitely.
they're coming in. Not only are you coming to try out, but also we have these eyes looking at you that, if they write something good about you, it's going to travel and people are going to know that you did X, Y, and Z at this tryout. Yep. So we're looking forward to that again this year.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So we've been chatting for a little while now. Um, with the development aspect of it, right? If you don't mind digging into really what you focus on, more specifically, I guess around the high school athlete, what do you focus on as far as developing them to prepare for recruitment and to play at the next level?
Yeah. So really good question there, right? Me, I was a high school star athlete. I went D2 because I was an airhead in class, didn't have the grades.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So going through the whole process and understanding it for my own self, and then like I told you about my son, going through the process with him and understanding it. I know what these guys are looking for, right? What you need to do to impress these guys. For the most part, right? We call it the 99% and the 1%. The 1% guys don't need to do nothing. Those are just your elite of the elite. A college recruiter will look at him and go, that kid is an alien. I'm offering him a scholarship.
Sure.
He's 6'4, he's 290 pounds, and he's the fastest kid on the field. He doesn't need to do anything, right?
Yeah. He just
But
needs to
then
show up, right?
just show up. Exactly. Then you have the 99% that we call them. And the 99% are good kids, but they're not the 1%, right? So what do you have to do to impress somebody? These kids have to go to camp, right? And they have to look good in front of college coaches. So there's two aspects that we talk about, right? One is speed and agility. We also have our own internal speed and agility trainer, game changer trainer, one of the best trainers in the country. His name's Amir Dudley. His son's actually one of the top quarterbacks in the country right now. And also, his name's Amir Dudley. He's committing this weekend to one of 30 schools that he has the option to do.
Oh wow.
Um, but yeah, he's our trainer. He's our number one trainer. He does all of our stuff for all of our kids. So, what we tell our kids is there's going to be two things that you need to do to impress these college scouts, right? You need to look flawless from a speed and agility standpoint. So you go to these camps, they have you do all of these stop, start, turn drills and all of that stuff. Do you look athletic doing that stuff? That's the speed and agility side, right?
Sure, sure.
Then there's a second component to it, right? That's the competition component. And that's where 7-on-7 comes in at. You're going to have to now compete in one-on-one drills, receiver against DB, running back against linebacker. They want to see that. And if you play 7-on-7, 9 times out of 10, you're going to wipe the floor with kids who didn't because they're not getting that extra level of
Sure.
coaching, teaching, what you're going to do if he's lined up here. This is what you do if his hands are there. They're just out there performing because they're talented, but they don't have any technique. So our guys go to these camps and they literally dominate at these camps. That's why that first group that I started with, 24 of them, they're all in college. 3 years later, we have 66 kids that came through our program that are in college.
Man, that's
66
remarkable.
years. So, and this year right here, we're looking to add, I think the senior class this year, there's realistically, I think there was 32 of them. We counted 21 of them that are going to go to college some form or fashion
That's
from
awesome.
the Division 2 level on up.
No,
So,
that's man, that's big.
yeah.
That speaks volume for what your program is and what you represent. So no, that's huge, man. That's exactly the idea behind my platform is to get folks like yourself that really knows the game that can really speak to these kids and really show them, that there's a different way. Maybe be open minded, right? Maybe take a risk, do something different,
Mhm.
and you can get there because I mean, the fact that you've had 60 plus kids in 4 years,
Yep.
that's remarkable. So kudos to you on that, man. Um, Not going to take up a whole lot more of your time. If you want, to plug anything else in, lend any additional advice that you didn't cover, anything like that, feel free to do so.
Yeah, sure. Nothing much really. Just be on the lookout for us. We're traveling all over the country this year, so we'll be everywhere. We're looking at Vegas this year. We're looking at Colorado this year. We're looking at Texas again this year. We're looking at Philadelphia, which isn't far from us. We're looking at Massachusetts. So we're going to be all over the place with the 13 teams that we're expected to have this year.
Awesome.
So we go to these places. We have a lot of big success, and one of the things that we pride our organization on is it's our slogan. We compete and we have fun. So that's kind of what we do, you know what I mean? And we have a lot of really good kids. And I would be remiss if I didn't end by thanking the parents that we have in our organization, because there's a lot of travel that's involved with it.
Oh yeah.
Without the parents that we have, it just wouldn't be an option for a lot of the kids that we have in the organization for parents to make the sacrifices that they do make. The one thing about this thing is it's not free. I've been through it with my son, and you do got to shell out a lot of money. But on the back end, like I told you, I look at it now like it was like throwing a tic tac to a well based off what it did for my son. You know what I mean? He's
Oh,
in
for
Ivy
sure.
League. He's in Ivy League school now, and he's a player there, and he's an academic dude there also still. You know what I mean? And that's just kind of like what it's all about. So it's not something where we don't talk about the academic side of it. Is very, very important. Over the last 4 years, just to end on this note, we pride ourselves on this. We have an average of 3.65 GPA
Huge,
of the
huge.
of the whole organization.
That's huge.
Numerous kids, I think the number was 46 kids over the last 4 years have been over 4.0. So we do more than sports over here. We
That's right.
talk about the sports side of it because that's what it is, but behind the scene, our kids are bringing it in the classroom, and that's why they get in college. You have the grades, and you are a player, you will go to college. Period.
And that's well said. I share that same advice almost verbatim every single time I speak to a young athlete, and it's just nice to hear it, be echoed because it's exactly what it is, right?
Mhm.
If you have the talent, you put the work in the classroom, you're gonna go wherever you want to go, and everybody's got a different level of success, right? And that road is different for every single person, whether it's the very small percentage that takes you to the league in whatever form sport that you play, or if you transition to the workforce, right? So, I say that because I think it's episode 3. I speak with Jeff Devon, who was the team captain 2018 on the defensive side. He hell of a talent, but he didn't do the whole pursue the league thing, right?
Mhm.
So he opted to go to the workforce, and he's now at the University of Nebraska as a director of diversity and inclusion.
Mm.
So it just goes to show that everybody's got a different level of success. Let your talent get you to school, get that education, and do big things, regardless of whatever it is. So I appreciate your time, my man. I'm certainly open to running it back by all means. We can bring some of the young athletes that you train and coach, bring them on, give them a platform to share their stories. I'd love to have them anytime. I'm wide open. For our viewers out there, please again, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that like button, share it on all social media so we can continue to grow this thing, right? We're just getting started. We're 2.5 weeks in. Let's just continue to grow, man. We got more and more young athletes reaching out to me. I'm starting to get backed up on footage, which I'm excited about. That's a great thing. So just make sure you subscribe, you watch these videos, check out these kids. They got a lot of talent. They got great stories to share, and just share best practices. Anytime that you can bounce best practices off each other, I think that's a win-win for anybody involved. Um, so I think I'm done talking for this episode. I'm Rob Odie. I appreciate your time. Until next time, we're out.
Thanks, Rob.